This day is finally upon us. That's right, folks. Today is November 19th, 2019, and what that means is it is the official launch day for the Google Stadia platform. And so far, things seem to be off to a bit of a rough start. But is this the end of Google Stadia as we know it, or is the launch just going through a bit of a rough patch? So today's video is going to be a bit of a departure from some of the other videos that I posted here in the channel. So a lot less curated, a lot less editing, and no pretty B-roll. So try to bear with me. So as I just mentioned, today is Stadia launch day, but I do have to start this video off on a bit of a salty note. So I pre-ordered my Stadia Founders Edition console on June 6th during the pre-order announcement video. And as of right now, I have yet to receive an unlock code or even my shipping confirmation. So it's pretty safe to say that I won't be receiving my Founders Edition console on launch day. But according to the Google Store, I should have my Stadia console on the 20th or the 21st, so be sure to subscribe to the channel to see my real life first impressions as well as my long-term review of Google Stadia. But even though I haven't received my console yet, there still is plenty to talk about in the world of Google Stadia. So the Stadia launch has been surrounded by a ton of controversy and questions, and I don't think that the Stadia team is handling all that well. When asked questions about latency, game stuttering, or image quality, instead of explaining how the magical Stadia technology delivers this experience to your fingertips, they just, well, simply either don't answer your question or completely deflect. Take a quick look at this video that the Director of Games and Business Development over at Google did on Cheddar.com.
Jack, there have been some reports out there, some issues with some streaming, some lag times, even for those that have really good internet speeds. Is this just first day out of the box, things that need to be ironed out?
You know, so far so good. The first gamers that are getting their hands on the system are actually reporting it's working fine. The games actually look and play as good, if not better, than what you can even get on a high-end console or PC. We couldn't be happier.
And then when you take a look over on Twitter and Instagram, you see a ton of legitimate, non-trolling questions about the Google Stadia platform. And those questions, once again, get zero answers. And the comments that they do actually answer just seem to be marketing fluff. And then there were a bunch of complaints about the launch titles, and with good reason, because the original 12 games that they announced that would come out with Stadia were kind of weak and honestly really old. And then they turned around and announced another 10 titles, making it a total of 22 titles that would launch with Google Stadia, and I was still completely underwhelmed. The only 2 titles on that list that I actually wanted to play was Red Dead Redemption 2 and Destiny 2, and I just purchased both of those for PC, so. And now that Google Stadia is officially launched, this is actually something that will make or break the platform, the availability of day one titles. I definitely consider myself to be more of a casual gamer, and even for somebody like me, I definitely don't like to wait for titles to launch, and I definitely wouldn't be willing to wait for them to come to Stadia. So how does the Stadia launch seem to be going? Well, it's a bit unfair for me to make comments on this simply because I don't have my console just yet, and most of what I'm going off of is just hearsay. But based on a number of reviews from credible news outlets and technology influencers, it seems like the initial experience is pretty bad. As expected, there have been a ton of reports of inconsistent gaming performance on Google Stadia. So depending on where you are in the world and what type of internet connection you're using, Google Stadia can either be surprisingly decent or complete laggy and stuttery mess. But even though Stadia is off to a bit of a rough start, I in no way, shape, or form think this is the end of the platform. Google has extremely deep pockets and some of the best engineers in the world, and I can only imagine once they optimize the platform, they will gain a cult following that will stick with Stadia down to the very end. Now, will this be financially sustainable? That's a whole other question. And if they continue to botch future game releases like they have with the launch of the Stadia platform, I give them about 24 to 36 months before they end up on that website killed by Google. But regardless of what happens to Google Stadia, as I mentioned before here on the channel, cloud gaming is definitely the future. So I originally had recorded this video yesterday and I was gonna post it yesterday, but the funny story, actually while I was editing the video, I was waiting for all the footage to import into my computer, and I started reading Twitter, and I started to notice that this entire Stadia launch was a complete dumpster fire. So 2 things happened since I originally recorded this video. Number 1, my Stadia Founders Edition console did actually ship, and what that means is number 2, I also ended up receiving my Stadia code. So at this point, I have actually gotten a chance to try out Stadia. So what I did want to do here real quickly was talk about my first impressions of at least using Google Stadia in the Chrome browser. Now, I do plan on doing like more of a dedicated video of first impressions of using Google Stadia once I get my Founders Edition console, hopefully this Friday. But until then, really quickly, let me just tell you about my experience that I've had with Stadia in the browser. So I could sit here and talk to you guys for an hour about in-depth enterprise networking and how advanced my home network is, but I'll simply just summarize it like this. My home network is really, really fast, and I have a really good internet connection. This time around, I've actually upgraded to Verizon Fios, so I do get around 800 to 900 both up and down. So with all that being said, my experience of only playing Destiny 2 for about 30 minutes was surprisingly good. I didn't really get to go super in depth with it. I did notice that the quality was significantly lower and the input lag was significantly higher when I first started playing, but as I played along, it seemed like the quality did get a bump up as far as the visual quality goes, and the input lag actually reduced itself. So that was actually a pretty good experience, or at least a pretty good first impression of using Google Stadia. But even though my experience was surprisingly good, in no way, shape, or form did the experience ever surpass that of a console, or especially a PC. I mean,
the games actually look and play as good, if not better, than what you can even get on a high-end console or PC. The games actually look and play as good, if not better, than what you can even get on a high-end console or PC.
I'm not sure what the director of business and gaming at Google is actually talking about, but in no way, shape, or form is it better. But I'll save the rest of those opinions for my real-world first impressions of Google Stadia. I more so just wanted to get this part of the video out to sort of rant a little bit and correct myself and just really tell you guys sort of what's going on with the Google Stadia launch. And in case the rest of this video doesn't actually end up coming out, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. Once again, guys, my name is Fran. Thanks for checking out this video. I'll see you guys in my next one.